we're talking about, let me draw a cricketing analogy. Is it possible for one batsman in one alliance to hit sixer after sixer while the other batsman is getting out?
It has happened.
It's very difficult.
Tamil Nadu, it happened. DMK did much better than the Congress. The Congress brought...
No. But the Congress was a fringe and marginal player in Tamil Nadu in that case. I'm talking about BJP and JDU together, fighting almost the same number of seats.
Good point,
one batsman is getting out, ball after ball, the other guy is hitting sixes. Is that even possible?
I'll tell you why.
You still think it's possible?
It is possible for two reasons. A, remember every JDU candidate has an LJP candidate contesting against them. So that is going to be a critical factor. No, 1 minute. They could damage you in 30-35 seats. Number two, JDU means the visible symbol of Nitish Kumar. If this is anti-incumbency against Nitish Kumar, it will hit the JDU. But yes,
Rajdeep, it cannot be that there's a tsunami blowing in one direction and on the other side, Rahul, in some other seat, there's a counter wave growing.
But have you not seen in cricket, this is a possibility, that one batsman stays from, like as an opener, till even the last batsman comes in. So I'm not saying this always happens, but you cannot deny this possibility.
Yeah, it happened once and India got out for 37.
Can I just add here?
Yes,
many of these LJP candidates fighting against the JDU are in fact from the BJP and the RSS. So we've got a situation where you've got the same alliance fighting against each other. You've got the JDU being attacked by the LJP. So look at the number of parties that are fighting against Nitish Kumar, and across alliances the number of parties fighting against Nitish Kumar per se as the leader is far more. It overwhelms those who are supporting Nitish Kumar.
But there is a point in what Rahul says, that if there is anti-incumbency, it's not, and your partner is Nitish Kumar, you could also go down with him. And I think one of the challenges of this election will be to see if Mr. Modi's popularity, which remains high, is able to offset Nitish's negative image at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. It won't be easy. Similarly, the challenge for the RJD is because the Congress has a weaker organizational base, can the Congress also carry? So I think Congress, JDU, those 28 seats, Rahul, to my mind, are critical. When you start your strike rates, if the Congress starts defeating the JDU in those seats, I think then you know that clearly something is going on.
It's my belief, Manisha ji, that a rising tide will lift all boats.
Absolutely.
A low tide will sink all boats. A boat which would have sailed through can also sink because the tide itself is low. Rajdeep, if it is, think of this as cricket again. If it's your day and your team is in song, you're in song, you snick a ball, it goes past third man for six.
Yes,
and on a bad day, it can go into slip and you're out.
I think what we are saying
on a good day, even Rajdeep scores in cricket. Otherwise, it's
on the ground, it was visible that JDU was pulling the BJP down, even in strongholds. There was even a resentment among the BJP's traditional voters vis-a-vis Nitish Kumar. Young people who were stuck in Kota, you ask their parents what they have to say. They were traditional Brahmin BJP voters. They were speaking against Nitish Kumar. In many constituencies, it was very clearly visible that either BJP failed to assess the depth to which the JDU may fall, or it had no option but to go with JDU.
One of the things we look forward to, and maybe Professor Shastri, you can look at that, because the CSTS poll also, Rahul, suggests that high level of vote transferability between Congress, RJD and left. They're all transferring their votes to each other. It isn't happening as per the post-poll of CSDS between JDU and the BJP, and that could become a critical factor. Am I right, Professor Shastri, that the possibility that you need a perfect alliance, you need votes to be transferred?
Rajdeep, you're perfectly right. The Lokniti data says that within the Gathbandhan, there is something like a 3/4 vote transfer, whereas in the NDA alliance, especially in seats where JDU is contesting, there is not more than a 50% vote transfer from the BJP supporters. So I think this is a crucial factor. The Gathbandhan seems to do a more effective vote transfer as compared to the NDA. And this clearly shows that Nitish is not just fighting a battle with the other alliances. He seems to be having to fight a battle within his own alliance also.
Rahul, you wanted to make a point. Yes.
No, I think, see, both are possibilities. And you should be open at 8 a.m. that it can go in any direction. The possibilities are basically both partners of the alliance going down together, as well as one ally doing better compared to the other.
So you could have a situation where the BJP
As
does
a
well.
pollster, I am open to surprises on the counting day, and everyone should be.
And let's be clear, the BJP, JDU, LJP alliance then won 223 of the 243 assembly segments that went to the polls in the Lok Sabha. And Mr. Modi's popularity was among the highest that he had across the states of the country in Bihar.
Yeah,
so there is that factor.
Yeah, but lots have changed. The ground reality that obtained in 2019 is very different from what it is now. And theoretically, while it may be possible that one ally could do better than the other, politically, when there is so much of anger on the ground against the government, I think the other ally will also be collateral damage. It can't be that the BJP will do very well and JDU will sink. It won't happen. And conversely, in the opposition alliance, the others will also gain. The smaller allies will gain.
Yes, sir.
So, see, Rajdeep, quickly, I want to say one thing. If Tejashwi keeping Lalu Yadav out of the posters and banners is tactical omission, what about only Modi on BJP posters?
No, that's what I was coming to. That the writings on the wall, quite literally, if you look at the campaign posters, that reveal a story of sorts. I remember much before Corona also hit in, the first poster that Nitish put out outside the JDU office was "Theeki to hai Nitish." It was such a laid-back kind of a thing, as if he is the only one and theeki hai. You don't expect much, you don't expect anything lower. So theeki hai karke, unhone, what they started off was something which was on a very lethargic pitch. Then thereafter it moved on. They tried to energize the base, but remember, neither Nitish contests nor some of the tall BJP leaders in that state contest elections. They all come in through the MLC route. So they were not understanding the pulse of the people. They were pretty much cocooned in their bungalows. Even if you remember the floods in Patna, and the way Sushil Modi was, his house was flooded, and he carried a bag and with his family came out on boats, were actually moved out of their houses, evacuated. But there was a sense of apathy towards the public's concern. And that is the build-up that happened around that flooding that happened last year.
It comes to chemistry versus arithmetic. You would look prima facie at 8-10, you would say arithmetic still with the BJP-led alliance, simply because of the wider social base. Chemistry is with the other side because they have been able to run a much more coordinated campaign, which is surprising for many people who think that the BJP at the end of the day is much more effective.
But can I flip that, Rajdeep, on its head and say, see what happened in Uttar Pradesh? If you've got the SP and the BSP together, you'd argue that the arithmetic is strongly on the side of the SP and the BSP. You've got the Yadavs, you've got the Muslims, and you've got the Dalits. But ultimately, it's chemistry that triumphs.
No, sir, Rahul, it can depend on. You need elements of both.
No, apart from that, it's the ground situation.
There are 110 seats in Bihar where Muslim Yadavs are more than 30%. So Tejashwi starts with an advantage in terms of his core base. The BJP has the wider social base because if you add EBCs, and the real test of Bihar is the 25% EBCs. Whoever gets a large chunk of the EBC vote wins an election. You've got Muslim Yadavs on one side, you've got the forward caste largely with the BJP. EBCs decide.
No, the arithmetic chemistry formulation also has a problem. People begin to think as if BJP and the NDA had arithmetic on their side and the other side only had chemistry. If you look at the chemistry chapter, you will find that the other side is an alliance of the left, which in itself is an alliance of the CPI, CPM and CPI-ML. Then on the other side, you also have the Congress party, which we don't want to give too much credit to. But remember, the RJDs worked very effectively to also park a lot of its trusted candidates, just the way the BJP's got a lot of them on the LJP side, on the Congress side. So you've got a lot of arithmetic on that side, and a lot of the EBCs and Dalits that you talk about, after the decline of the Congress, the EBCs and Dalits have also been picked up by the CPI-ML.
I'm not doubting that, and I think that, no, ma'am, I'm not doubting the fact that the left adds a certain number of votes. All I'm saying, traditional Bihar logic, and you can ask any Bihar politician over the last 20 years, has been that there are three forces now in Bihar. JDU with about 12 to 15% of the vote, BJP with a 20% plus vote, and RJD with a 20% plus vote. If two of the three come together, they should in normal circumstances win the election. That's what happened in 2010, that's what happened in 2015. In 2020, it could well be that chemistry is overwhelming that arithmetic because of the scale of anti-incumbency.
Yes.
And I think that is something to be seen. Therefore, I say chemistry versus arithmetic is an important factor.
Look, what we appear to be ignoring or not giving enough importance to is the groundswell of public anger against this government. For multiple reasons, apathy, the way Mr. Nitish Kumar became totally remote, inaccessible, and everybody will suffer. So therefore, look, every party wins the election till counting begins. So, and if elections were only about combinations and arithmetic,